everyone. So in this video, we're going to talk about portraiture and some of the things that have helped me out in my journey. And just a quick FYI, I've not been academically trained and I've never went to an art school. And this might make you want to stop watching this video right now, but I will tell you this, I used to make very, very bad drawings. Like they were basically some of the worst drawings that you've seen. Like this is the stuff that I was making when I was a kid, and this is the stuff when I was making during the COVID times, and this is something that I've made a couple of months ago. So I guess the improvement kind of qualifies me to just state a couple of things that might even help you out. And yeah, I hope something in this video clicks. And I think it goes to show that there are enough online resources that you can find. Like I watch a lot of Proko's videos, and Stephen Bauman, he also has live streams available in which he's talking about his process and the critical thinking that goes into whatever marks he's making on the paper. So all of them are really helpful. And before we get this started, I just want to tell you that it's the best idea to just stick to one medium at a time. I get it, we all are interested in like illustrations and stylization, even different mediums like oil painting. Maybe you're interested in acrylic painting, graphite, charcoal, gouache, whatever you're into. I just think it's the best idea to just stick to one medium at a time. Like if you have 6 hours each day, then you should probably commit to just sticking to one medium, as even if you think you have got a hang of it, you probably don't, as there's so much to explore in each and every medium. And it's also like you're changing the check posts each and every day, because the laws of the nature, edges, soft edges, hard edges, and everything, they're all going to be true for each and every medium. But every medium, it has a different tendency. Like the way you blend things in one medium is going to be totally different to whatever you're doing in the other medium. Oil paintings have a really slow drying time. Acrylic, on the other hand, they dry like this. And with pencil and charcoal, with pencil you have to be really patient. With charcoal you have to really be careful because it can just spread out anywhere. And yeah, there's different things and different tendencies of each medium. So if you want to have the quickest improvements in the shortest amount of time, I just think that it's a great idea to just stick to one medium at a time. So the first thing is the quality of the paper. At a time when I was like drawing before, like this is the drawing that I made during the COVID times, and this is a printing paper sheet, an A4 size, which has like, I don't know, 60 or 70 GSM, and it has like little to no tooth on the drawing paper. And as you can see, there's not much detail or definition. Well, you can go more detailed, but it's going to be hard to like for the graphite to just hold on to the paper, as there's little to no tooth on that paper. And instead you want to get like an actual drawing paper. Actual drawing paper is going to be much thicker and it's going to have a higher GSM, and you can put down many layers of graphite and charcoal. It's easier to indent on it. Have you ever tried indenting on like a printing paper? It's impossible. Like I cannot do it. If you can do it, by the way, if you can draw great portraits on like a printing paper, then this is the sketchbook that I use these days. And the GSM is 160. It's taken up. It is able to take down some beatings, as my workflow it's really kind of messed up these days, and I'm trying out different things, but it has the ability to hold the graphite or the charcoal, and you can even indent on it. These are the kind of results that you can get on a higher grade of paper. So yeah, don't underestimate the quality of paper that you're using. It's really important. The second thing would be learning about Loomis method. And when I was a beginner, I kind of underestimated the intimidation factor of it, as there's so much going on, as you're kind of breaking down the face using a sphere, and then you're breaking it down into segments and just dissecting it. And as difficult as it looks like in the beginning, it's going to make your job so much easier once you get a hang of it. I did finish the book Drawing Head and Hands by Andrew Loomis, and I was really intimidated in the beginning because I was like, I'm just comfortable using grid method. I don't really need to learn anything else, but that's a mistake, as it has again made my job so much easier. And it's not a novel, by the way. You do have to make those drawings and actually practice to get better at it. But yeah, I just really think that is important, as even if it takes you like 3 months to finish that book, just take it, because in the long run, it's probably going to save you years of like trying to figure out where everything is and trying to just nail the proportions down. It's like 3 months of investment, and they are going to give you so much more benefits than you expect. The especially in the start when you're just beginning. I think that you could use that little treat of a confidence boost when you're not really supposed to get results. Because if you're like learning Loomis method, it's going to take a little bit of time to actually see the results. But with grid method, it makes your job like 80% easier. And even masters in the old times used to use it and make sure that everything is in place on their canvas to make sure that the amount of work that it takes for them to finish the artwork, it's going to just get cut short by using that method, if that makes sense. I'm using grid method in this, as you can see. And when you're just starting out on your drawing journey, you don't want to make big grids. You want to make small grids like these. Focus your attention on this square right here and treat this as an individual drawing and make sure that this is the best drawing that you're going to make. And can you make a mark right here? Can you notice these shapes and can you just put the mark at the accurate place? Yes, you can. And if you can do that repeatedly on each individual square, then you'll have yourself an accurate drawing. And again, if you're just starting out, you want to make small squares and then move on to making bigger squares. When I'm making this drawing, I want to make sure that this is in the accurate place. Now, there's multiple ways you can verify this, right? So the first way is when you're done drawing this, well, you have to be, first of all, you do your best job to make sure that this is the accurate place that the mark is placed on, even in the reference. But after you're done with this, you can verify it, like make sure that the shapes are all aligned up correctly, as you can see in the reference. So if I'm done with drawing this, I will make sure that this shape is accurate. You can just notice in the reference and you will be able to see that if this shape is not accurate, then you can make the changes accordingly. You can also double verify it by having another reference point. So let's say this is the reference point that I'm using. So when I'm using this as the reference point, I can draw almost an imaginary line like this and make sure that this point, the bottommost point of the nose, is all aligned up with the highest point of the eyebrow. Third thing would be actually treating your art as a subject as if you were studying it in a university. So when we go to school, when we go to colleges, universities, we have different time slots to study different subjects. So you have physics lecture from 10 to 11 a.m. There's different lectures for different subjects, and you're actually dedicating time going to class and listening to your teacher and then learning something about it in exchange of that. I think it's a great idea if you can just dedicate like an hour, maybe two, to just, even if you're like working out, just listen to a podcast by like Stephen Bauman or Proco. They have so much incredible artists that are coming into their podcast. And if you're just listening to those guys talking about the kind of thought process that goes behind their work, I just think it's the best thing that you can do for your improvement, as you're listening to someone who is better than you. For the longest time, I didn't do that, and it showed in my work as I wasn't really improving as I should have. If I were to just listen to those artists and copy whatever they were doing and actually treating them as a teacher and treating my own art as a subject, I would have improved so much. If you can just listen to someone who is better than you talking about this, whatever you're doing, it's going to benefit you in some way. You kind of also subconsciously start to implement it into your own workflow, and it really shows. Even in your studies, I think it's very important that you're tackling the problems that you cannot solve. So if you're just toying around with the idea of making a good drawing, but let's say you cannot draw eyes, I think that you should at least spend like half an hour, but even if it's like 15 minutes just before you go to bed, just make sure you're tackling the problem. Go into it head first and just try to solve it, because you don't want that problem coming up whenever you're making your next artwork. It's like the worst time you want to learn how to fight is during the fight. No, you want to be prepared before you go into the fights, and just figuring out whatever you cannot work on. Let's say you cannot draw an eye. Just make sure you take the time out of the day and practice drawing an eye. Like, what is it about that is so difficult to you? What is it about it that is challenging to you? And make sure that you're solving that problem. That was a lot of yapping. Anyways, the fourth thing is that you need to realize that charcoal is your friend. Even if you want to become just a totally graphite artist and just stick to that one medium and make sure you're just exhausting the full capacity of it, I just think that you should never say never and just experiment with it. A lot of people, including myself, I used to be intimidated by charcoal because it has such a different tendency compared to graphite, what I'm used to, and it's such a messy medium too. But it's like once you know the capacity and the caliber of charcoal, it's hard to switch away. First thing that I realized about charcoal is that it really saves a lot of time, because graphite is great for building up patience, because within your drawing session, you can be like, why is it taking so much time? And it does help you build the patience, but with charcoal, you can get really dark values in little to no time. With my A5 drawings that I'm making these days, I try to just use charcoal in blocking out whatever part of hair, sometimes the regions that receive little to no light, and it makes the drawings like so much easier to make, first of all, and it just cuts the amount of time that it takes to finish the art. Whenever I see a really dark area or like super dark hair or whatever region that is really not receiving any light, I just use charcoal because again, you can get away with like not adding too much details and it really saves you a lot of time. Can you imagine just like being like 2B, 6B, and then 10B? It also leaves a glare, by the way, which I'm not a fan of, and charcoal really doesn't have that problem. One thing about charcoal is that you need to keep in mind is that if you're using charcoal powder, that's great. You can go super dark, but it's hard to control it unless you're using like a super tiny brush. Like, ah, I have the toughest time trying to find the right tools whenever I need to. Like this one. With this brush, you can control wherever you want the charcoal powder to go. But with like super tight stuff, like if you are drawing like flyaway hair, you need to get like a charcoal pencil. But if you're like blocking out something with a charcoal pencil, just make sure that you're using graphite underneath it, because like it's not going to cover the all the tooth of the paper. You need to have something underneath it. Even if you're using like 8B or 10B underneath it, just make sure that you're not applying too much of it and you're not applying too much force on the tooth of the paper, as it's going to leave some tooth available for the charcoal to stick on, and it's going to be a much easier way of application and just go super dark. Also, you'll be able to add highlights on charcoal much easier than graphite. And the last thing that I would like to say is that it's not too late. It's never too late to go back and do some things that you actually love doing instead of like never touching them again. Like even if you're in your 50s, you just have that option to commit to actions right now and not really dwell in the past too much. And I know from firsthand experience, by the way, that woulda, coulda, shoulda mentality is the most dangerous mentality you can have. It's so self-destructive. Like I remember being able to draw much clearer than being able to write before that. Like I don't know if that makes sense, but like I was drawing like dinosaurs, Lord Krishna, Ben 10 aliens, Naruto, and all those things. And there was like a good part of a decade where I never really touched a pencil. Like there was like nothing in between. I was just like studying, playing badminton, trying to compete there, and all those other things that I used to do before. And I wish there was like so much amount of time where I just wish that, oh, I wish I had the right guidance then. I wish I didn't quit then. I wish I would have, I could have, I should have. And so much time and effort went into that thinking, which led to absolutely nothing. I'm saying that right now because you don't want to be like 80, 90 years old when your partner is gone and your children are not in your house anymore. You don't want to be that age and be left with that thought. Like, I wish I continued that particular thing when I was 38. I wish I did that when I was 50. You don't want that smoke at that age. Trust me, there's like no way you could deal with that in a normal way. So it's not too late. Even if you're like 50, 38, 35, 25, just don't spend too much time on wishing what you could have done and just focus on right now. Just focus on the present and get it done. Anyways, I think this is it for the video and hopefully something helped you out, and I will see you next week.